Hello and welcome to Late Night Creatures. I'm your host, Peter DeToro, and today we're going to be drawing some undead creatures. Now, undead creatures are, of course, creatures that were dead at one point and have come back to life for one reason or another. Give me 1 second. Whoops. Alright, should have checked that when I started. My tablet was not plugged in. Anyways, so what we're going to be doing today is doing our best to just draw some nice undead creatures that have come back from the grave. So I think the best thing to start off with is a grave out the gate here. Just a nice little grave. Get the dirt and all that it comes with. And everything else. It's a grave. So now I guess we need something to come out of this grave. And we're having a lot of technical difficulties this episode. My apologies. Give me 1 second to fix all of this, because give me 1 second. This is not there we go. Alright, you know what, we are gonna forget that for now because my camera got messed up. Anyways, let's keep drawing some undead creatures. That's a hiccup. I'm gonna have to reconfigure some stuff later, but all's alright. Back to the grave. So I think maybe we should have something poking out from behind this grave. A new creature, an undead one. So let's see. I think we should just start off with, I don't really like to do normal standard stuff, but let's just start off by drawing a normal zombie to the best of our ability here. There he is. He's a nice young gentleman. Wonderful. He's he's friendly to an extent. He's not super friendly because he is trying to eat you, which is a negative. It's a bad part of the personality, I will admit, but you know, you do what you gotta do. You do what you gotta do to survive in this world, and he has to eat people, so he will do it. You know, I don't think we're really here to judge. I think we're here to, not to help, but maybe to just understand, you know? One thing I never really got about zombies is why don't they eat each other? 'Cause it's like they're made out of the same stuff, but it's like they're made out of the same stuff normal people are, but they won't eat each other. And I know that it's rotten, but I don't think they really, I doubt their taste buds work, and if they do, why don't they like normal food? There's a lot of questions that no one really answers when it comes to zombies. Do I intend to answer those questions? Maybe. We'll see where the night goes. Okay, so if taste buds don't work on zombies, I'm going to talk about this for a bit now. So if taste buds don't work on zombies, then why do they want to eat at all? Because, like, okay, because they don't need to eat. At least it doesn't seem like it, so I doubt it's a hunger thing. So does that mean that's I don't know, could it be just, it has to be pleasure. It has to be like they enjoy it, it's fun for them, or it's just like their taste buds would have to work for there to be a feasible reason why they would eat people. And I guess it could just be a behavioral shift in the brain, but that doesn't really, I don't really accept that. It's not an acceptable reason to me. It's just that like it's their instinct now, but instinct requires a need, and so it's just there's so much crap to unpack here. Anyways, see how he's looking. Let me take a step back here and sort of see how he's coming. All right, there's our little zombie man. He's a fine young gentleman. He's nice. That eye is very small. It's much smaller than it should be. I'm gonna fix that. Would not go in that socket. Well, maybe that's why it fell out. You know, yeah. Let's lean into that. He's got a big old droopy eye and it's deflated, which is why it fell out in the first place. And then let's continue. So zombie is one undead creature. You know, an undead thing that gets touched on in movies every now and then is pets, undead pets. Like, you know, there's zombie dogs and stuff like that. But let's get some not super well-known zombie pets in here right now. So let's start with let's just start with this shape here. A nice long shape. Give it its little ear. Bring that around. And give it the second ear. That will have a little nick out of it. And then we have, let's see, the little face, and the eyes, and there's his little mouth. And there we go, the first ever, to my knowledge, zombie ferret. Ferret that is a zombie. It came from the grave, and it's angry. It's ready to eat you. Yes, indeed. And then there's so I guess that this is his pet and his owner. So I guess this guy's Grave. So Grave and should his ferret's name be Tomb. Grave and Tomb. Our two it's not a dog, but to signify it's a pet, you have to add a dog bone. That's sort of the staple. Let's see now. So we have Grave and Tomb. So who are their graveyard neighbors? Let's see. So I guess off to the side here, right next to them, can have a bigger, slightly more ornate tomb built up. That there we go. Comes up and it's just a nice little obelisk, kinda. And who lives here? Mac. Mac lives in this grave. It is Mac's grave. Not Mac's grave. Mac's grave. Doesn't matter. Anyways. So we have just, this nice little grave here. There we go. All encompassing, wonderful grave that is also set into the ground. We'll make grass this time because that's different than the dirt. He's in the grass patch. He's in the grass patch. Then he's coming out. Oops. And he is one of the other undead things, which is a skeleton. So let's draw our nice little scully skeleton. There it is. It's a mushroom. You want to draw a skull, draw a mushroom. That's Quick Tips. Quick Tips by Peter DeToro. That one was free, but you're allowed to buy my full DVD set to get all the new Quick Tips. There we go. He's a nice little skull boy. And he'll have just a body. It's just his skull. Just his skull has decomposed. It was exposed to more elements, and so he has sort of a normal, like, fleshy body everywhere else. Just because drawing a skeleton body takes a lot of time. Takes a lot of time. And so he has this body. Maybe there's some skin hanging down. I don't know. Yeah, there's the rest of the face. You sort of see like the eyes and the nose hanging down off of him there. There we go. That's a skeleton if I ever did see one. So then we have this little skeleton Notch. And yeah. And he's happy. He's raising his hands with glee because he's finally been raised from the graveyard. An important part of undead creatures is to figure out who exactly is bringing them back to life. We'll get to that later. So we'll have to touch on that, but it doesn't just happen, you know. Something has to happen in order for it to happen. So there's Mac, Graven Tomb, our undead party. They're here and they are ready. Of course, I'm sorry, Mac's just funny. So now we have to decide, you know, who's bringing these guys back to life? Who is actually doing the resurrecting? That's the word. Well, typically it'll be a necromancer, but I think we should take a different approach here, and maybe just make it an eye. I'm trying to do something different, so we'll start with an eye. It's the eye. Here it is. The eye is doing something related to necromancy. I think the eye is just the necromancer. He has an eye for a head entirely. And then we have his little robe hanging down here. There it is. And so you have he's here just doing some necromancy. Just sort of chilling out. Casting some bad magics. As is the case with most necromancers, their magic is not well received. That's another thing. A lot of times, necromancers, when they bring stuff back to life, they're useless. Not useless, but they're sort of mindless. And I wonder if a necromancer brings something back to life that's like still has a brain intact. Like a grave his brain's probably still pretty intact. So if they do it to something like that, you know, are they still a mindless zombie or not? It's an important question. So yeah, he's here and he's zapping out little rays that are resurrecting, but I don't know what the necromancy term for it is. I have not done my fair share of necromancy research for this episode. I know, that's my bad. So we have a second bolt coming over here. Just zig-a-zagging. There we go. So there we have our undead creatures. I have a lot of time left though, so there's a lot more that I can do. So we have our guys. I think the most useful thing to do now is go ahead and start shading. Or maybe go ahead and start shading, and then we can add another guy back in later if this fails. Well, if we run out, still have a lot of time. So let's see, what color for the undead creatures? Let's go for a greenish color. Yeah, that'll work. Sort of a spearmint color there. We have him coming out, doing his thing. Bam. So on the topic of zombies, talked about them a lot, but it is the undead episode. I never really got zombies just... It seems like they'd rot away after a while. And they're exposed to the elements more, so it seems like decomposition should be accelerated. But it doesn't ever really... That's another thing that's never really touched on in zombie movies and such, is that, you know, they aren't gonna be around forever. They're still dying. They're still, you know, rotting. I mean, they're rotten, so they're rotting. I don't know why people in zombie movies don't just... You never see a flamethrower. Never see a flamethrower in a zombie movie. And you know why? Because that would make it way too easy. And I know that, you know, zombie movies have to be... You know, they have to be movies, and they have to have a story, but I think if it's, you know... I think if you're having all of this build up, and like they're all awful and whatnot, you should give a reason why powerful weapons like flamethrowers and stuff like that, like incredibly high capacity, high power firearms, stuff like that, why that isn't in use. I know that a lot of times military sanctions off that type of stuff for crisis in case people try to get at it, but eventually the military is either going to have killed all the zombies if they're keeping all that for themselves, or they've all died, and so you can go get the guns and stuff. I mean, it's not like it's going anywhere. And I would argue that a military base is significantly easier to sneak into when all the military's gone and there's just zombies. So, you know, I don't really get why people don't just go straight for a place where the military is active. Seems like that's the best move. That's the power play you can make. But, you know, I've never been in a zombie survival situation, so maybe you just don't think of it. But I think you'd think of it. That's all I'm saying, is that, like, and maybe people try. Maybe people try and there's whatever, automated systems. I just like to see in a movie, like, I'm not up to date on The Walking Dead, so maybe they've done something like this. But I just want to see that happen. I know that one of the guys in The Walking Dead had a tank, maybe, like earlier on, and that guy had the right idea. I'll tell you what, he definitely had the right idea as to how to deal with this. Is you get one of the biggest things you can find, and you use that. That's what you do. That's just how it works, you know. So you have all that, and you gotta let it go. So we need to add another creature. We got some time to spare. So let's plop him in. So we have a skeleton, kinda. We have a zombie animal. We have the necromancer. Oh, I got it. So the necromancer, he's doing all this stuff, but little does he know there's another grave back here. A different grave. A grave that is much stronger than anything he's ever seen before, because it is indeed a grave monster. And some people will say this isn't undead, and to which I reply, you're right, but it fits the theme of ghosts and ghouls and such. So, you know what? Surprise, here's a graveyard monster, a grave monster. It's great, it's cool, got a lot going on. I love you too. And so here's this monster. He's sad. He's a sad monster. Well, he's sad. He's sad because, you know, he doesn't want, because he's not getting attention from the necromancer, but then also he's angry for the exact same reason. And so he's conflicted. He's cracked down the middle. See, literally, because he's a stone monster. And so he can actually be cracked down the middle. And there he is. So one side's angry and one side is sad. But both sides are ready to pummel. Because he's very emotional. He's an emotional grave. He's an emotional grave. And we have just, you know, it's an emotional grave here. And he is ready to destroy this necromancer and then also subsequently destroy all the other graves in the graveyard because, you know, he's jealous. He's like, I want the same attention that the other graves are getting, but you refuse to let me have that. And so I'm going to, you know, destroy all the other graves because I am smart, confident, beautiful, made of stone, just like the rest of you. And I'm prepared. Who died? Who died? That's the guy's name. It's a pun. Who died? So yeah. He's our emotional young man. And I think that he has every right to be. Disagree all you want. But he has earned his anger, sadness, whatever. I'm not going to harp on that anymore. Man, Who Died? Do you think Who Died was a nice guy? I think with a name like that, I hope he had a job as a mortician or something. Just because, you know, I think he's earned it. I think he's earned that job. I think he walked into the interview and he was like, all right, what's your name? Who died? You're hired. I will tell you what. Must have been the best job of his life, too, because they were like, he'd always get phone calls like, hey, who died? And he'd go, yes. And then there would be a whole confusion about that. All right, cool. There's a nice little undead scene we got here. So for episode 10, we're coming up on episode 10, which is, for most people, nothing. But for me, it's a milestone, because I'm near certain that this is the longest running series I've ever done on this channel. So that's cool. I'd have to double check that fact, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. Even if it's not, it's 10 episodes. That's something to celebrate for me. So what we're gonna do for the 10th episode, I have some instructions that I'm gonna, you know, put around. But I want to sort of go back and look at all of the things we've done in the past. So there will not be a vote on the theme for the next episode because I have what I want to do. We're just going to be sort of going through, taking a few of the creatures from older late night creatures, redrawing them, giving them some new life, and maybe expounding more upon their backstories. I'll have to do some research, go back and see what exactly I've done, because they've kind of started blurring together at this point. So yes. So basically how this is going to work is, for those of you watching right now, you'll be able to do this later. And I'm going to post in the comments of this video as well on Twitter and stuff like that. But just pick a creature from a late night creatures that you liked and that you wouldn't mind, you know, seeing again. And just say, do this creature. And I'll look before sometime, I don't know exactly when, but sometime before next Wednesday, and I'll say, okay, they want me to do the I forget his name, but the starer, I think that was his name from that episode. Then someone wants me to do one of the Jazzy Jakes. It's just like that type of stuff, and yeah. So that's what I want to do. So I need audience participation. So if you do that, it'd be cool, and I think that it could be a really fun episode. I might have people on. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But I'm excited. All that said, I think that we're gonna wrap this late night creatures up. Thanks for joining me. Sorry again about all the technical difficulties at the beginning, but stuff happens and stuff gets unplugged and other stuff gets plugged in, and sometimes you gotta just fix it, which I will do before the next episode. So again, thank you for joining me this late night. Hope you all have a good night. Goodbye.